Yeah. Thank you. If you guys would like to introduce your students before we get started, then we'll all know who they are. You guys look nicer than me, man. Jeez, I have to call my wife or something.
I would like to introduce Ms. Sade Bass. She's one of our fifth graders. Ms. Catalina Mallory. She is one of our third graders. And Tyler Drake is also one of our third graders.
And I'm Amanda Moore, principal at North Hornet Primary. So I have brought Joe Mallory. She is one of our first graders. Tinsley Bonfont. She is one of our second graders. And Caroline Drake, and she is a second grader also.
All right, guys. Don't mess it up. Let's look at the flag and start the pledge. Right back here, guys. There you go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. All right, so in the same spirit, I've asked Miss Melanie Stewart to lead us in invocation tonight. She is better known as Mama Moses sometimes, and she runs the Underground Railroad. I've known Melanie for years and years, and I'm honored to have her join us tonight and lead us in an invocation. If she would do us the pleasure. Whatever you like. Say it loud. I know you can.
I don't know about that. Y'all don't want me to sing, so I ain't gonna sing.
I don't know if it's on tap. Give it a tap.
How are y'all doing? First of all, it is a privilege to be here. Every time that I get asked to come and do this, I always think of my father, who was a pastor here in Andrew for many years when I was growing up. And so it's a privilege to be here. He always did it because this was his thing once a month, was to come up here and do this. So it always brings him back to my mind whenever I'm asked to do this. I will be reading tonight from Psalms 91, 1 through 2. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Nehemiah 4 and 6. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work. Let that sink in. For the people had a mind to work. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this occasion for which we are gathered. We pray for these servants of this community of Andrew, my hometown. We ask that you give them wisdom and guidance so that they are able to make the best decision for all citizens who live here. Please allow them to operate in a spirit of unity, realizing that they may not always agree, but that even in their disagreements, they must still do it in the spirit of love. Father, I ask that you allow them to hide under the shadow of your almighty power, and that just as Nehemiah was able to build the wall, give everyone in this meeting and in this jurisdiction of this town the mind to work together for peace and for the betterment of Andrew. And last, Father God, cover me, your servant, and the volunteers of the Underground Railroad. Keep us safe as we journey out tonight to help those who are homeless and in despair. For it is in your name, Father, that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, Miss Melanie. All right. So we have the agenda before us. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
We need to add approval of the minutes for in December, for December 5th and December 19th.
Okay. Commissioners, we have the minutes in front of us from the last couple of meetings. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Those in favor, please raise your right hand. The motion passes. Thank you, Jim. All right. Before we get deep into business, well, let's do this first. Do we have a motion to approve the rest of the agenda? Do I need to do that? Okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's approved. Sorry, I'm still figuring this out. All right. We have presentation today from Representative Howard Penny first, who brought us a big piece of cardboard. I wonder what that is. It is, yeah.
First of all, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners. I thank you for what you do. I can tell you it's not always easy sitting on that side of the lectern, because I have had that opportunity for a number of years. To give you a little bit of background on why I'm here, and I don't know how much you know about the legislature and how it works. In the 21-22 biennial session, we got quite a bit of money for Andrew, but Andrew was not in my district at that time. Representative Larry Strickland got quite a bit of money. 23-24 that we're in now, Andrew was back in my district, so that's kind of the way things go. And I mentioned to you earlier, Mayor, we just got out of 23, we're in 24. The next budgeting cycle will start 25, 26. Mm-hmm. So town manager, mayor, commissioners, about December of 24, I need to have what monies you're going to need for projects for the town of Andrew. I'm not promising you're going to get them, but I have to know those things. So the check I'm going to present tonight, actually, Mayor Smith and Town Manager Vinson had got me those numbers back. I guess that would have been, maybe December of 22. Mm-hmm. So we have the monies. I'm a firm believer in the early bird catches the worm. And I tell that 4 of the 5 municipalities are in House District 53. Lillington's in House District 6. And I tell all my mayors and my town managers, have me a shovel-ready job. I want it in my top right-hand desk drawer, so when the time comes, I've already got the paperwork in place to file. And that's important. That way I can let the people know what we need. Another interesting fact that I noticed this year, the priorities in the legislature or General Assembly for the last 2 sessions have been water and sewer infrastructure. Now, we got a lot of federal monies in 21 and 22. Well, that money's about to dry up, so we don't know that we can depend on any more of that money. Don't know that we need it because we can't pay back the national debt now. That's another whole issue. But when I got to looking and researching, the 5 towns, incorporated towns in Harnett County are over 100 years old. Bowie's Creek and Bun Level are not incorporated, and they're over 100 years old. So that's the importance of water and sewer projects, because we got old pipes. We hate to talk about it, and we would like to control maybe how growth occurs, but Harnett County now has probably got closer to 140,000 people than a number. Why? Our neighbor, Wake County, is running out of land. Guess who's got some land, and guess where they're all coming? And I'm not saying that's necessarily bad, but we have to have the infrastructure to handle that, and that's where we're struggling. So the request that former Mayor Smith and Town Manager Vinson was, you need another water tower here in town for water pressure and some other things. So the ceremonial check I'm going to present to you tonight is their request. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you guys first.
All righty.
And then I'll turn around and show it so the audience can see it.
I thought you were going to make it out to me. Let's make a couple of calls first and then.
$9 million for a water tower to upgrade the water pipes and sewer storm water for the town of Andrew. good look, see how many $1 million you got in the month, in the 21-22 session, but you got millions of dollars in that one. Can you guys hear me okay? Or I need to be recorded on this or not? Okay. I'm gonna turn around. and talk. My granddad moved out of Johnston County to Harnett County in about 1896. I live between Andrew, Coates, and Bowies Creek, so I'm just kind of right down the road a little bit. My commitment, as long as I'm able to serve, is to bring as much money back to Harnett County as we can get. We brought back in the 21-22 session about $80 million of taxpayer money back to Harnett County. In the 23-24 budget, Representative Pike and I, on the House side, got over $100 million to come back to Harnett County. That's taxpayer money. That's our money. And this check is presented on behalf of the North Carolina General Assembly. It's not Howard Penny, it's not Representative Pike, it's not Senator Bergen, even though we all work together. But our responsibility is to get as much taxpayer money to come back to our districts as we can. And I think we've been blessed. Did we get enough? It's never enough. Not with the population I've been talking about. It's exploded and come to this area. We need all the money we can get. But we've been fortunate, and I look forward to working with this group and the mayor, town manager, to continue to get as much money as I can to come back to Harnett County, as much money as I can to come to Andrew, because this little bypass that's coming around town heading towards Coates is just going to bring more people, more opportunities, more challenges, and more need for more funds. But thank you so much, and I appreciate you letting me make this presentation.
Very much. Well, you might have spelled my name wrong, but it's all right. It happens all the time. All right. Thank you.
I've got to go to Lillington. Another thing we've got several $1 million in the budget to put in a new education center at Central Carolina Community College between Lillington and Bowies Creek for firefighters. There's going to be a firefighters training center put in there, and they're making a presentation of thanking their for getting that money in the budget. Thank you for what y'all do. I know it's not always a very thankful job, sometimes it's a very thankless job, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation from Campo regarding the 401 corridor study.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you all.
Same to you.
And in light of what Representative Penny basically presented from Water and Sewer, we'll talk about transportation. And what I want to bring to you is the final iteration associated with the US 401 corridor study. There we go. Mainly our agenda will be a project recap, review, mainly the existing US 401. I'll really focus in on the Harnett County recommendations, briefly touch on the Wake County recommendations, address NC 55 Andrew bypass, as just mentioned, and NC 210, and talk about future US 401 or the long-term alignment recommendations we have and next steps. So in general, let me just give you some general background. The study has gone through several phases. Let me see if this, yeah, it does work. Various phases. From phase one, when we had begun this project in 2021, we then moved forward into phase two, where we talked about the technical analysis of the corridor. We reviewed in phase three, looking at developing general recommendations based on a lot of public input. One of the things I want to basically stress with regard to this exercise, as far as this corridor study, this was probably the most intense and most involved in terms of public engagement associated with a corridor study. One of the things I want to basically highlight with regard to the corridor study is that ultimately we are looking at improving existing US 401 through the region and existing area roadways. Those will be of high priority for short and midterm implementation before the long-term recommendation for a new roadway, which we'll recognize or will designate as future 401, would ever be constructed. So I want to let that framework be established. Also want to let you know the corridor study area, basically beginning at Banks Road up at US 401 in Wake County and concluding at 210, 421 in Lillington. And just as a quick project recap, we just wanted to recognize that beyond the US 401 corridor study, there are planned projects in the area. And of course, we note, and this is what's included in the current 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the Long-Range Transportation Plan, where we include a lot of projects, of course, in the Wake County area where a significant growth is occurring. And of course, it's now occurring further south into Harnett County with the creation of the Andrew Bypass, which is under construction right now, which is R 5725. Future widenings proposed for, of course, looking at widening of 401 and 210 from 2 to 4 lanes. So a lot of things are occurring in this area, and largely this had begun in terms of this study was an outcome from the Southwest Area Study that was done from 2018 to 2019. And so why is this corridor study significant? In order to develop what is called the Metropolitan Transportation Plan for this region, and when I'm saying region, we're looking at not only Wake County, but we're also including portions of Johnston, Harnett, Franklin, Granville County, and now based on the census, we're going to be incorporating a portion of Chatham County. We have to have a Metropolitan Transportation Plan to address the transportation needs that are associated with a growing population, a growing region that we are. Those include, as I mentioned, large area studies. The one I just mentioned was the Southwest Area Study. We include corridor studies, which this is and will be concluding very soon, and other studies associated with hotspots, modal studies involving bicycle, pedestrian, transit plans, and also looking at land use and transportation plans and how those work together. But the key piece, of course, is corridor study. And again, this is a part of or feeds into the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. And let me mention to you, of course, we do this every 4 years in terms of renewing or redeveloping a transportation plan. And so basically this just gives you background in terms of what is a corridor study, and this is the initial step of planning for corridor improvements. Doesn't mean that once this corridor study is done that a project will be built immediately after that. It takes many, many years, decades for a project to be built. But you have to plan, just as we plan for our financial planning for our home or any other type of plan, there has to be a plan in place that can guide the steps as we move forward in terms of regional development of our transportation system. So we're in the planning phase for this. So again, this is a planning phase study. And the general background for the study includes looking at existing 401 and the what has been considered in the MTP a proposed alignment for US 401 that had been included in the 1997, well, actually amended in 1999, but was a part of what we call the Board of Transportation's transportation plan that was statewide. And this was incorporated, as far as this alignment was incorporated into that transportation plan in 1997. And since that time, it has been included in all long-range plans that we've had from the 2025 long-range transportation plan, as it was called, all the way up to now what is called the 2050 MTP, which was adopted on December 8th of 2021. And so what did we do with regard to the scope of this particular project? We looked at three segments. We looked at what we considered Future 401, that alignment. We looked at 401 as it traverses through Fuquay-Varina, and we looked at the segment in Harnett County from southern Wake County, of course, all the way down to Lillington. And let me just mention to you that the study was of interest to the town of Fuquay-Varina because they were concerned about the bypass, but also concerned about the growth that was occurring not only in their area of Wake County, but how it spills over into Harnett County. And again, let me just stress the importance of this study in terms of gathering public engagement and public input. As you can see, I mentioned to you that the various 4 phases, we're in now phase 4 of the study. There was significant stakeholder oversight team. There was a lot of content gathered in terms of the various alignments that we looked at, impacts, coming to conclusions in terms of a future alignment, and what we're doing right now in terms of the public engagement piece. We developed visions and goals, have come up with draft recommendations, and we're in the process of writing the final recommendations and final report that will encapsulate the US 401 corridor study. Excuse me. So let's go over those quick recommendations. And just to give you background in terms of additional content to show what we did in terms of public engagement, we wanted to, of course, ensure that there was a lot of education and awareness, get feedback from the community. We got a lot of that. During this round of public engagement, we had in-person open houses in Lillington, Fuquay-Varina, and Angier. There was information on the website. We did survey work. There was a Ask a Planner presentation that was given. We had a lot of yard signs, media releases, and information provided in Spanish. So it was very comprehensive in terms of our coverage for public engagement. Oops, went too far, too fast. Let's see. And with regard to the survey participation, the red area shows the zip codes, which are primarily in this area, southwestern Wake County, northwestern Harnett County, where we got a lot of respondents and those that provided comments. But if you look in general, there was a lot of interest in this particular study from persons who lived as far north as Granville County, further south into Cumberland County, and in other parts of the region and other parts of, pretty much this triangle region. So it was pretty comprehensive in terms of what we were able to capture and the interest that were involved, those who were interested that were involved in this. And of course, the nexus and epicenter was, of course, the general study area and the zip codes associated with it. Let's go to the final recommendation. So let's focus in on quickly existing Wake County. I will not go into a lot of detail with regard to that. But basically, of course, we focused on the area from Banks Road through town and further south. And the sections, of course, we broke it up into were 5, from Banks Road to NC 55, then NC 55 to Judd Parkway East, Judd Parkway East to Ennis Street to Judd Parkway Southwest, and then from Judd Parkway Southwest into Harnett County. And we had various, we tailored the road to address the needs of the community to ensure it benefits not only the traveling public, but those who wanted to access, particularly Fuquay Arena, from a bicycle, pedestrian, and transit standpoint. Let's go into Harnett County. One of the things that we did in the earliest surveys that were created was to look at the alignment. There were various alignments, and it was determined from that background and from what the public had basically indicated, that let's just keep the existing alignment as it is and look at what we can do in terms of a widening project. So what we did was that we showed from the survey that was gathered just recently, generally supportive of a widening project with speed reduction. So there's generally some background as to what we captured from that, but for the most part, there was a general support for the widening and improvement of 401. And I've traveled it many a day, and I can see, particularly on a Friday afternoon, it gets pretty busy, particularly around Piney Grove Rawls Road, and even going further south into Lillington. And then we had two design concepts based on the width, taking into account the railroad tracks at Kipling, and what's in that general area. And so what we did was there was a narrower cross section of 120 feet where you still could fit in a 4-lane facility with multi-use paths on both sides. This, as that area develops along 401, how it develops, if there's interest in the general public to not only access the area via car or truck or any other type of motor vehicle, there's another way in which we could, people could access the area via bike, ped, walking for health benefits, so that we took that into account as well. For the wider cross section, as you go further south, of course, we took the same thing into account, whereas you have a 150-foot right-of-way, where you'd still have a 4-lane, median divided with 10-foot multi-use paths on both sides, and you'd still have a speed limit of 45 through the area. And again, the general feedback was the majority of persons were generally supportive of both concepts. So people were pleased with that, and that's what I wanted to basically keep in mind. We wanted to note that from a staff recommendation, we wanted to keep the two design concepts, but acknowledge that there will be further refinement of those cross-section as we go into the project development phase and as this area continues to grow. We accounted for not only multimodal access along US 401, but also take into consideration along the other roads that are adjoin or near the area, where we would include bicycle facilities along local streets between Rawls Church Road and Harnett Central Road as well. Because as we know with regard to travel is more than just using your car or truck or other motor vehicle to get places. There are also opportunities we're trying to create for those who are bicyclists, pedestrians, who want to walk to a store, walk to a particular, from point A to point B, that benefits their health, and it's just a good way to experience the community beyond just the speed of going from point A to point B. And again, the general public feedback we got was supportive. Railroad recommendations. We looked at redesigning the crossings along US 1 to address that future widening that would occur in the area, with specific improvements around Matthews Road, Lafayette School Road, where the school is, and at Calibut Road on both the northern and southern ends. And we want to note, since this write-up, NCDOT has received funds to address a Fayetteville to Raleigh corridor under the Federal Corridor Identification and Development Program. So eventually there is going to be, along with the growth, along with addressing the mode of transportation from the standpoint of motor vehicles, we're going to address rail in this area. So Harnett County be expecting things to continue to come to this area as the state also sees the need to address improvement of movement, not only in this area that benefits this area, but it benefits cities nearby, such as Raleigh, Fayetteville, and other communities. And so this is the general improvements that had been recommended. Won't read them all down the list, but basically it includes signalizing intersections, look at reevaluating traffic impacts when we close particular locations, incorporating term restrictions, things of that nature. Because you want to, in light of the widening, you need to note that there needs to be, in light of the widening, and get a good return on investment, some things have to be adjusted to ensure that there's good movement for the traveling public along US 401. And again, one of the things I just want to quickly note that there was good feedback from the public concerning this area. And of course, there are concerns with regard to the closure or adjustments of various intersections. With that in mind, we have looking at the process of doing a smaller hotspot study in that area to identify how railroad improvements, widening of US 401, and intersections adjustments can be made to benefit this area. So this is the conclusion of one study. We're going to look at another study to refine those specific areas. Now let's go to NC 55, Andrew Bypass, and NC 210. Of course, this is the area that we're talking about from the Harnett County standpoint. Of course, Andrew Bypass is looking to be widened just right at the tip of Wake County. It's under construction right now. Portions of the highway, both segment A and segment B, will be completed before 2030. I don't remember the specific dates, but I know that it will be done before 2030 in terms of these segments, in terms of projects that are now under construction. And one of the things that we wanted to address in light of this construction is what can be done, of course, with regard to 210. And one of the things we want to do is look at widening 210. Of course, it's not under construction. It will be a part of a plan, but not under construction anytime soon. But we look to, of course, to widen it in terms of a highway facility. And it will show and make clear sense as we move further into this presentation. So again, with regard to these changes that you're seeing, the public feedback has good approval for those who are in Harnett County area and who see the need for improved movement of goods and services and persons through this portion of Harnett County. Now let's go to the future US 401 alignment. This is now the proposed alignment for or a future US 401. We note the benefits with regard to this particular project in terms of the feedback that we had received. And of course, this is mainly, in this area, this is mainly the Fuquay-Varina section of 401. We see the benefits of how it can serve this area in light of the growth that's occurring south and east in Wake County. But the big thing is, in light of what we discussed concerning Andrew Bypass, we see how if this connection is made here, or how this alignment works, that it would tie into the Andrew Bypass and then tie into 210 down to Lillington. So you avoid a lot of the movement of traffic, or it's another alternative to move it through downtown Fuquay-Varina and gives another alternative to the east of current limits of Fuquay Arena. Now, this is basically a comparison of the two routes. This is what is existing as it basically connects the northern section in the vicinity of Banks Road and Airport Road, how it traverses south and east of Fuquay Arena, and basically connects with 401 within the Fuquay Arena, of course, planning jurisdiction within Wake County, and ultimately connects with Piney Grove, Wilburn Road, basically serving as a, wouldn't call it a belt, but that was an alignment that has been and is in the current MTP. This is the recommended alternative that still has a tremendous benefit for Fuquay Arena, but it also aligns with the current Andrew bypass as being built right now. And so the alignment for the XC alignment is 1 to 1.5 miles east of the current alignment that's in the 2050 MTP, and terminates from the Fuquay Arena standpoint at 55, whereas the other one terminates at 401 on the south side of Fuquay Arena. And we gave, there's a lot of feedback that was received. Of course, there was going to be, depending upon your locale, not supportive of the alignment. We addressed issues associated with the speed limit. And of course, should this project eventually be built many, many decades away, one of the things that will be addressed, of course, is the environmental piece, where you look at alignment, you look at all types of features, from right-of-way to buildings, cemeteries, wetlands, all types of elements that are essential in preparing to build this particular facility. So what we wanted to basically show is that you do have various opinions with regard to it. As expected, there's going to be positive and negatives. But in light of the growth, we have to plan for that growth, and this could be used as a guide to help us determine what would be a suitable opportunity for transportation improvements in the area. Always taking into account that the earlier roadways that I'd mentioned would be of higher priority and built way before this project were to ever be built. But this is basically establishing a framework that would be a better alignment for a future US 401. And again, what we have here, based on the based on what we finalize in terms of the survey, the alternative XC provides a better alignment than the current US 401 bypass. And again, we're looking at, this is still in the planning phase and is not planned for construction until at least 2050, if that. We've had corridor studies done for roads that are more voluminous that we're still waiting to get constructed, and those projects or those corridor studies were done, I know for sure a decade before, or close to a decade and a half before this is being considered. And with all the projects that we have in the area and the limited amount of funds, it's just tough to get, projects have to score real well and do real well in order to get funding. So we do want to have this as a part of a plan. It is essential in terms of planning to have something available for people to and transportation professionals to understand what can be done to improve and address the needs for a growing community such as Southwest area. And when I'm talking about Southwest area, I'm talking about from Apex to Fuquay Arena in Wake County, and now all the way into Harnett County, taking into account the growth that is north of the Cape Fear River. So we're experiencing a lot of growth. We need to find ways in which we can maximize and benefit the needs of a growing community to ensure that that growth is sustainable and benefits this area. So again, just want to remind people that we're looking at recommending the existing improvements along US 401, along with other roads in the area before we would do the construction of a future US 401. And in terms of a compilation, this is what you would call your short and midterm projects to be done. Of course, this is under construction right now. And this is a long-term, distant future project. We want to see how the system works and ultimately determine how we can make, if that were to ever be built, how that would be functional and useful. So that's the general feedback that I wanted to give you all. So what I'd like to do is just mention to you all our final steps are the executive board will consider endorsement of this study by mid-March, include all comments, and we're just looking to get feedback from the local governments as to what they would like to address in terms of following the presentations on this particular project. So, oops, sorry about that. So you all were the first to receive a local presentation. Our next meetings will be with Harnett County, with the town of Fuquay-Varina at the end of February, or close to the end of February, excuse me. And Wake County is sending us a letter letting us know where they stand. So that's the general gist of what I wanted to provide to you all. Thank you all very much for the privilege and opportunity to give you the presentation. And so without further ado, I'll attempt to answer questions.
Anybody have any questions for him? Yeah. Well, thank you very much for presenting it to us. It certainly impacts probably most of the people in Andrew's daily life. I know I use these roads all the time, so it's great to see progress you've made so far. So we appreciate you very much tonight.
Okay. And just one last thing, I know if you all plan to endorse or anything like that, so, but if you're not, that's fine. But yeah, I just didn't know if there was a plan for an endorsement or anything of that nature. If not, it's no pressure or anything like that.
Considering we're all like, we just got fire hosed with that information. Certainly, I've looked at it online and viewed it. It's nice to hear you present it. You make a great presentation and you're very efficient with it. So thank you for that. If you all want to do it tonight or if you want to wait, I mean, it's up to y'all. To what end is the endorsement? Can you?
Well, it'll be basically a local endorsement along with the other endorsements we expect to receive from the other local governments, which will be informed to the executive board by the March meeting, which should be March 21st, I believe. So,
All right. So if you want some more time to soak it in,
and that's fine too.
because most of this board is new, and so this is new in this format for me too. So
Sounds good.
we could still give an endorsement next month, and it would be just as effective for you, I think.
Could you send me the presentation so that
Yes.
I can send it to the commissioners and they can have for review and then further questions?
Absolutely. Well, I'll also mention to you, I'll also send you the presentation. It'll also be on our website. So all that information will, yes.
Okay. Great. Well, if it doesn't slow you down, then we'll try to get that in the February meeting for you, so we can keep the ball rolling.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All right. That wraps up presentations, and we're going to move to public comment. And before we do that, because I am new, and we got some new people, we'll just kind of briefly talk about public comment. Public comment is the public's opportunity to come up here and address us. We try to do this at the first meeting of every month. We'll give everyone 3 minutes to talk. Generally, we as a board will probably not respond to your comments because a lot of times it's the first time we're hearing about it. But we do very much welcome your input. You would come and sign up before the meeting. There's a sign up sheet by the back door where you could sign in. If you're here to speak for a public hearing that we've got on the agenda, you do not need to sign up for public comment. We'll open a public hearing at that time, and then whoever wishes to speak could speak to that end. But if anyone has questions about public comment, you can email me or whatever, but we want to make sure everyone knows what their opportunities are to be a part of this. We'll go to our sign-up sheet. We have Pam Yanez has signed up to speak about the cat colony here, I believe, near the food line, right? If you would, please say your name and address for us.
So I feel like I've been coming here every month for a while, but that's okay. So I have a friend that has been working on eliminating the cat colony that is in between Harvey Johns and Food Lion for about 3 years. It takes about $135 per cat to get them completely vetted and put into a home and rehomed, rehabilitated. A lot of these animals some of them are completely feral and stray. Some of them are being abandoned. I have a lot of information, so, and I've been sending a lot of it to Bob as it's been happening. She's had animals that have been actually driven from other towns and abandoned at this Food Lion. The farthest someone has driven is 11 miles to abandon one of these cats. It was microchipped. The woman was addressed about it, and she was like, I hate that cat. She ran out one day and I never saw her again. I have had cats since I was 5 years old. There is no cat that is running 11 miles to go live next to a Food Lion. That's just not happening. Like, even people, it's not happening. And it's cruel to the animal. You're basically leaving the animal to die. In the 3 years that they've been rehabilitating animals from there, they have gotten over 200. That's over $27,000. They have had a cam out there that has been broken. They have been trying really hard to fix this. The town has not issued any ordinances or anything about that. I don't know that there's been anything done. Donald Trump made animal cruelty a felony in 2019. She has been rescuing animals from 2020 on. There has been as many as 13 abandoned in one night. There is one cat that was at the beginning of them rescuing that has been a wet nurse for 4 litters of cats. We have people that don't care about animals. And I can even see right now, LaRue is very affected. It's hard for me to make these statements and not cry. I have worked at a vet's office. People will steal your animal and leave the collar in your mailbox and not care. You've lost an animal recently. It's hard. I lived in South Carolina. It was happening there. For my whole life. So Harnett County is going to bulldoze the trees there. All of those cats are going to be euthanized and killed. And she has 30 cats left. There is a team of rescuers and feeders that are trying their best to get these animals homes. Someone has abandoned an animal as recently as 2 nights ago. We need help. We need help over there. We need police reinforcement. We need something because they've tried out of their pockets for years. And it's killing the spirits of these people. They don't have the heart to come up here because they are not as strong as I am. It is very hard to watch these animals suffer. And it's hard to go get food and see them suffering. I want to start the new year right, and I want to do better for voices that don't have a voice in this community. And that's why I'm here. That's it.
Thank you for sharing it with us tonight, Pam. Next, we have Sam Gregory, who'd like to speak to us regarding the planning board.
Yes, my name is Samuel Gregory. I live at 247 South Wilma Street in Anger, and I was honored to be appointed to the planning board to serve out a term that somebody had vacated in early 2023. So I was able to do that until December, and then applied for a reappointment, and the board was gracious enough to reappoint me to the planning board, and for that I am thankful. I just wanted to come and formally introduce myself because I know everybody on the Board of Commissioners in some fashion, some better than others, but I look forward to what you guys do moving forward. I'm excited about the board that's assembled, and I'm excited about the things that you guys will do moving forward. I just wanted to come and, again, introduce myself to everyone formally that's up here, that's listening at home or in the room tonight. I couldn't be here at the last meeting when my appointment was considered. I had a prior commitment that I needed to be at. I was here on the 5th when the appointment considerations would have normally been made, but there was a lot going on that night, as y'all are well aware, so I think it got pushed to the 19th. And
Yeah.
as it is with those appointment meetings, sometimes the notice isn't always, that much to be able to be there. So I had a prior commitment, and I really wish I could have been there to be interviewed or speak on my behalf. But I'm certainly open to any questions you all have tonight. I know I've already been appointed for the term starting this month. I do feel that I'm a worthy candidate, and have done a lot in the town of Anger by way of my job, but also volunteering through that capacity, and especially where Anger is now. I feel like I've got a good sense of what Anger needs and where it's at, because I've lived here almost all my life, and I've worked here for half my life. I was born in 1990, so I've worked at a local funeral home for half my life now, and serve as a funeral director there in a professional capacity. And I feel like I have a good perspective as someone that has been in Anger their whole life, either living here or visiting family, that I serve all of Anger. So I don't just serve the people like me that have been in Anger their whole life or lived here almost their whole life. I serve people that just moved here 6 months ago or lived here since they were born here in 1927, let's say. So I feel like I have a good perspective of what Anger is going to become, and what you guys are going to be faced with, especially in the coming years as board members and mayor. So I'll be glad to take any questions.
I don't know that anyone has got any questions. I will say that apparently this board that appointed you was pleased with what you've already done so far on the planning board, and we certainly appreciate your willingness to jump in and do some hard work. You guys have got some work ahead of you. It's not going to slow down, so thank you for being a part of it.
We appreciate you coming up, because we know we missed you there, and there were some questions that came up, and
Yes, sir.
people wondering why we reappointed you without you being here. But we appreciate you taking the time now and coming up and addressing it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Sam.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, that's all I've got for public comment. So we are going to move into new business. I'm going to shuffle my papers around because I haven't set my computer up. So the first thing we've got is a voluntary annexation petition that our own Mr. Jeff Jones will present to us.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I'll be brief tonight as we're just setting or directing the town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of an annexation petition that has been submitted. Triangle Land Partners LLC has submitted an annexation of 2 parcels along the Harnett County, Wake County line. Those 2 parcels are approximately 18.68 acres. And what we're doing is just having you all just direct Veronica to determine the sufficiency tonight.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mhm.
Anyone, any discussion regarding that? Jim, you look deep in thought.
I was just reading something here. Yeah. I think I know where it's at.
It's almost at Junie Road and Kennebec. Yeah, this is sort of going to be an extension of the Camden Place subdivision that's under construction now.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
But it is contiguous, so it'll be
Yes.
connected right to where we're at already.
that's correct.
And just to be clear to everyone watching, we're not approving an annexation tonight. We would just simply be directing the town clerk to investigate the viability of this before we consider an actual annexation.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any other questions for Jeff or discussion?
That just answered my question.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I talk to.
No, well, LaRue asked
reinforce
the
it
question
for
before I can
myself.
get it out, so that was perfect.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
I make a motion to direct the town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the annexation petition submitted by Triangle Land Partners.
There's no discussion. Then all those in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you,
Board.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Next, we've got Chief Lee Thompson going to come talk to us about the Harnett County SRO agreement.
Hope everyone's doing well. I'm bringing before you the 2023-2026 Andrew Elementary School Resource Officer Reimbursement Agreement. This is what pays our SRO at Andrew Elementary. So we first entered into an agreement in 2018 with the county. This new agreement has been increased due to salaries increasing, so it's covering just about the majority of the salary and all other costs involved. This agreement also is paying a 3% increase each fiscal year for upcoming increases in salary as well for the next 3 years. So I think it's a pretty good agreement. But
Okay.
it needs y'all's approval to move forward. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And so you reviewed this, and Elizabeth has reviewed this, and you're satisfied with it.
I'm satisfied.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that we've got that 3%.
Mm-hmm.
All
And that
I'll-
covers anything for unforeseen in the future too, correct?
As far as
Whatever comes up.
I think it's just an automatic
Yeah.
3% increase in that
Yeah,
dollar
yeah,
amount every
yeah.
year. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
I just want to
is
make.
pretty typical, I think. Yeah. But I'm glad that we've got that in there so we could grow
we
every
didn't
year.
have that in the original 2018
Yeah.
agreement.
All right. That's
Yeah.
what I was. all right.
All right. I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
I'd say we go ahead and I'll make the motion that we approve the resource officer reimbursement agreement for Andrew Elementary as written.
Okay. There's no discussion. Then all those in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Number 3, Elizabeth Krieg is going to talk to us about a budget amendment. Budget amendment. It's the mask. It's not
Good
me.
evening, board.
It's tripping up my lips.
This will be the last budget amendment you hear from me for a while because we have a finance director, Samantha Sleater, who is with us tonight. But I actually wrote the budget amendment, so I just thought I wouldn't push her out here on her first evening with
Okay.
us.
Well, we need to meet her though.
So you can meet her. This amendment is taking fund balance from the System Development Fee Fund and transferring it into the Water and Sewer Fund, and it is to upsize the line at Vaughn Farms, which you approved that contract in 2023, Broad Street water line replacement, and the West Lillington Street line replacement. The Lillington Junie Road, we are having a sidewalk constructed, and the water line needed to be moved in order for that project to go forward. So you have the accounts before you. And I was asked about the size of the lines. Vaughn Farms is going from an 8-inch to a 12-inch line, and Lillington Street's going from a 2-inch to a 6-inch.
Okay.
On Lillington Street, yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. The only question I had, just kind of standard question for me, but you reviewed this, and this is a move that we can make legally.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just asking for my own knowledge.
That's fine. Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? That's why I ask. I see that, and automatically I'm like, all right. Dan looked at this like everything's good. Okay. Any other question? I'll entertain a motion then.
I'm making motion, we go ahead and grant the budget amendment number 4.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Krieg. Next, we have Jimmy Cook. He's going to propose to us about a rental fee for the dumpster space behind Napper Tandy's, that block, I believe.
Good evening, Board. Hope everybody is doing well. Before you, we've got a proposed rental fee for a dumpster space. We're trying to establish a rental fee for businesses using downtown-owned public spaces for storages of dumpsters. So we'll start off with, how did we get here? I think Veronica is going to pull up a couple photos. Okay. So that was the original photo before we actually started our parking lot project and dumpster enclosures. If you noticed on the left-hand side of the photo there, there was an old alleyway that's how the business owners got to their property. The business owner actually built a deck and a ramp there, so the property owners could not access their properties that way. The property that you see in front of you was owned by a third party, and so the town did not have access to this, nor did the property owners have access to that. The town in the background owned that parking area back there, which went back around and went out to Dunn Street. So once that deck and ramp were installed, like I said, there was limited access for the business owners, so the business owners approached the town for help with the issue not being able to access their property and the issues with not being able to put dumpsters on their property. Our town ordinance states that you can only have 3 trash carts and 3 recycle per property. So a couple of businesses were having to use dumpsters, and they didn't have enough area to be able to put dumpsters. So the town board instructed the town staff to come up with a solution for the trash and the parking issues. So with board approval, the town acquired the property that you see here, basically in green, from the light poles over to the back of the vans. So the town acquired that property, which was the old Arnett property, and then that way we would have access from Lillington Street all the way through and back around to Dunn Street. So the town, if you recall, the town allowed the businesses to put temporary dumpsters right there between the edge of on the edge of the grass and the asphalt. So we allowed them to do that temporarily while the town moved forward with planning and the construction of the parking lot and dumpster enclosures. So if you recall, once the contractor started, we relocated the dumpsters to the edge of Lillington Street and had them placed there while we were doing construction. And if you want to switch over to the next photo, please. And can you scroll just a little bit to the right so we can see the dumpsters?
Too far away, Veronica. Okay.
All right. And so once the parking parking stalls and the dumpsters, once that was complete, the dumpsters were relocated into the dumpster stalls, and then we now have the parking stalls through there. So the town does not currently have a rental fee for businesses using town-owned public spaces for storing dumpsters. So we're here tonight to ask for your guidance on establishing a fee. At this time, the business owners were not informed of this potential fee. We wanted to approach the board and see how they wanted to, what fees they wanted to propose. So staff has written their proposal up, and to get your blessing on how to, how to create the fee and what amount we wanted to charge for that. As you can see, let's see if you'll flip over to the presentation that you've got. On the second page there, where it's got proposed dumpster pad space rental. Everybody see that? So how we came up with these numbers, so basically I went to Harnett County GIS and got the property value based on, right now it's just a vacant piece of property. So that value was about $15,000. It's not what we paid for the property, but that was $15,000 just based on that. So anytime you're doing something that's temporary, basically you're renting something. So we look at the value of the property, basically times 10%. It's just like if we do temporary construction easement, it's based on 10%. If we're purchasing a right-of-way, that's 100% of the cost. So as I figured out the property value of $15,000, acreage-wise, it was 0.1 of an acre, or 4,356 square feet. And then time you figure the value of that, it was $3 per square foot if it was sold. Again, 10% of that value is 34 cents, almost 35 cents. Your total dumpster pad area and square footage is 540 square feet. If you multiply the 34 cents times 540 is $185.76. And there's 3 spaces in there. So you divide it about by 3. That was $61.92. If I'm boring you with the math, I'm sorry. And then you divide that out by 12. So it comes down to $5.16 per month per space. All right, so we added in a $15 per month per space, basically admin fee. That's our staff figuring up, basically creating the invoice, going to the post office, mailing that. So that's how we came up with that. We figure roughly 30 minutes of time for doing that. So we would actually invoice the property owners. So basically what we come up with is a proposed total rental fee per month per space would be $20.16. And I would just recommend annually when we do our budget to look at those numbers. Things may change. Our property value may go up. That will change the rental area. Our salaries may increase. That would change that, so we can look at that annually or whatever the board would recommend on
So
that.
this is a cost of $242 per year per space.
Rent the space, and then
To
they
rent
have
the
their
space.
own dumpster fees on top of it.
That's right. And the administration fee is based on our employee, as Jimmy was saying, it's based on the hourly rate and the amount of time that it would take to create invoices, post payments, mail payments, those type of things.
Okay.
So if the board wants to establish a fee tonight, what the staff would recommend is we'll have the town attorney draw up the paperwork. We'll approach the property owners and maybe start this in March 1st. That'll give Dan time to write everything up. We can reach out to the property owners and maybe start that to March 1st if the board would like to proceed with that.
So, couple thoughts. The per month per space ensures that those that are using more of the spaces, so more of the dumpsters. Some use more, have more trash than others. Does that accommodate that some of the businesses that are utilizing more of the space are paying more than others, or is this an even distribution?
So this is an even distribution. So it's based on just the space, not how much trash
Use
you're
of it.
producing. So currently, right now, you've got one business that is using 2 of the spaces, and one is using 1 space.
That was kind of the question I had too, was how would you who you would be contracting these spaces to? Because I imagine a lot of businesses are probably getting by okay with the cans they have and don't necessarily need the dumpster.
So currently, right now, we only have the 3 spaces that are available, basically on a first come, first serve. I think all the other businesses that are there currently are being served adequately enough by the trash and recycling carts that they have there
Yeah.
now.
So we're going to contract these spaces to a certain business, and then it's up to them to rent their own dumpster, and
That is
or
correct.
or in
That's
this
correct. We're just
case,
renting-
two spaces to one business.
That's
But
correct, yes, sir.
okay.
We're just renting the spaces, not the dumpsters.
Is there any other town that's doing this?
I actually reached out to Lillington and to Dunn and spoke to their managers. They don't have anything now. They're working towards that. So conversations with them, that's kind of how we come up with the rental. So
I would caution to say that this is town-owned property,
Right.
and if you allow one business to use town-owned property for free, then you're going to set a precedent that everyone gets to use town-owned property
I
for
just
free.
know some of the merchants are gonna come back and say, well, I pay property tax. So.
But this is
I
our
just want-
property.
I understand that. I understand that. So that's why I want the clarification on that.
yes, ma'am.
Well, and my thought too is they're already paying to rent dumpsters up and to this point when the dumpsters were placed on the grass lot. They were paying for those dumpsters.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
a savings to them in some.
So they had no area to be able to place
Right.
their dumpsters, so we're actually providing an area for them.
Right.
And so for us to be able to, we have to establish a fee, it's similar to somebody renting the ballpark.
Right.
It's
I pay
something
$20 a
similar,
month to park a car in one of those things. If one of them opens up, let me know.
And also 17 more parking spaces for
And
their
it's
patrons to
fabulous.
use.
It is so nice back there. I know that it's just been a
Cleaner.
welcome. Yes,
It's
Yeah.
a lot nicer.
going with the brick wall there is magnificent. So kudos to y'all for the planning and what all went into that. And I think it's fair that, if you're going to use the space, you're going to pay for it. So.
It seems minimal, and you're covering our staff on the time that they have to invest in managing it.
So the rate that we're collecting is gonna take a long time to pay back the project.
Well-
So, and that's not
That's
purpose.
not the
Don't
goal.
think that's the
not
goal, right?
Okay.
But
Right.
just to be fair to all the patrons.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see why, I don't think business owners would have disagree with anything near that, especially with what they have now compared to what they had before. It's just
Yeah,
I
and
think
they
the-
can lock these spaces too, right?
That is correct.
Yeah,
yeah, because I know they were having issues with
other people
other
filling
Using
the
up.
filling
dumpsters.
So,
dumpsters.
and that can be a part of the agreement, is to make sure that they keep their space clean.
Yeah.
And secure, so we can add that into the agreement to make.
As
sure-
we require everybody else to do with the spaces they have
That's
currently.
Yeah,
That's
they
correct.
probably save $20 a month than other people throwing trash in their dumpster.
Not more.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
Now, just different subject, the town staff, we have to go back and put the opaque facing on the front. Right now, we just have the chain link fence there with the screening on it, so we've got to go back and put some opaque, so
okay.
we've got that on our to-do list to finish up.
Do you think we have any long-term maintenance for this area that we need to be worried about? Doesn't seem like there would be.
No, sir. That's why we went,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
felt like we invested, the public's money wisely by putting up a
Yeah.
block wall versus, a wood structure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
So
we're
wood
fixing every
structure-
5
That's
years,
longer.
yeah,
So-
yeah.
It's definitely eye appealing
Yeah.
compared to anything else
Mhm.
that's
Because
around.
those
Yeah.
wooden fences were atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you notice too,
I know where
when
there's
you
one.
when you ride by there, if you ride by there tonight afterwards, we actually had a street light installed, so it lights out that area a little bit more for the parking, and we put a couple street lights along East Lillington Street, so where the sidewalk and everything is, so we put that in, so I think it did turn out real well.
Okay.
Eventually, are we gonna do the same thing on the other side?
The other
If the
side-
board gives us a budget and permission to do it.
We've been looking at that for years and that has happened, so
With
we can be hopeful.
I guess with that being said, I'll make the motion to approve the proposed rental fee for the dumpster spaces for businesses and to bill the businesses quarterly.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, then all those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous then. Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, thank you.
All right. Now we are going to be joined by Derek McLean, who's going to talk to us about the creation of a new advisory board.
Good evening, board, new members, and longer tenured members. I didn't want to say old members. So, hope everybody's well. This has been kind of a long time coming. We wanted to make sure we did it the right way, and we feel like we're right there now. So basically, I'm here tonight to get you guys to approve an establishment of a new Andrew Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I think it's probably in your packet, and it was in my report. Do you guys have any questions about it, any concerns about it? I'm here to answer whatever questions I can. We're hoping to open up applications this week, if you guys will give it your blessing tonight. And we're hoping you guys can interview them and appoint the new members at the March 5th. I think it's the 5th board meeting. So
Yeah.
we're excited about it. Pretty much every town to the north and west of us that's experienced this type of growth that we're starting to experience has done the same exact thing years before us. So I feel like this is going to help me make better decisions. And I told Elizabeth this morning in our staff meeting that I feel like it's kind of like a planning board for Parks and Recreation. And, you know, I certainly don't want to take on all this growth and all these new things that we need to get done by myself. And I feel like this gives me, you know, different ideas, different opinions, and it gives the people a voice, more of a voice than they already have. So,
Yeah.
I guess, like I said, I'm here tonight to hopefully get y'all's approval on this, and we'll move forward.
How many people are you looking at?
5 to 7.
5.
Yeah, because, I mean, Fuquay has 7 on theirs, Holly Spring has 8, and Apex has 9. How many do we have in Harnett County?
We have 9, but they don't all come.
They don't show up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And, you know, we'd kind of like to have an odd number. There's a chair and a co-chair. An odd number is always good in case we have to vote on something. I certainly don't want to be the person to break the tie that way. So if we could somehow keep an odd number, that would be good for me.
Yeah. I like seeing you up here, Derek. Indulge me for a moment, if you would.
Okay.
Give me an example of a decision that this board would help us make.
Hopefully, additional funding for some of our projects is one of the main reasons. Depressurizing some of the parking issues we have at events down there. Somebody may come up with different ideas that we haven't thought about. That's the 2 biggest concerns right there is we've got all these projects that we need to do. And finding funding is always, option 1, 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest reason we're creating this. And, like I said, if we can find somebody, there may be somebody out there that's eager to join this board that says, hey, I know somebody that would be interested in doing naming rights or anything like that. I mean, we're always looking for opportunities and people like that. And I feel like this gives us more of an outreach opportunity than what we have now.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic Parks and Rec department. I know that we attract participants from lots of neighboring towns that come to join our program. So your department is important to this board. And I think if a board like this will help you out, then it's important to us too. So.
Well, we want to keep growing. I mean, we want to keep growing, and we certainly don't want to lose participants and people because we don't have the facilities to keep up with the growth. We want to make sure, and I guess my goal when we started talking about new park and a community center is I want to make sure that we've got something to provide for anybody that visits Andrew, people that live in Andrew, from ages 2 to 92. Not just youth sports. So that's kind of where my goal is to take this.
That's good. We've got some big goals for your department, so the board will help a lot, I think.
As Derek indicated, we serve with the county Parks and Rec, and a lot of things that we get to do as an advisory board is listen to park updates, to hear what is exciting that's coming, new playground equipment, seeing the visitors that come to the park, the programming that they put on. Is more than just making decisions. It's kind of being a part of that process and plan. And and being able to spread the word about that. So being excited about what's coming and you know, sharing the good news too. So
Yeah, and we're hoping to create an opportunity for people that don't want to coach.
yeah.
I mean, because we try to, we lean on the same people a lot, and
Yeah.
we're hoping this
For
opens up
years.
opportunities for more people to volunteer
Mhm.
to help with other things.
Yeah.
So
One question I had from a constituent, they want to, do they have to live in the
No,
town of An?
they do
don't
not.
have to live in the town. So they can live in Lillington.
my hope is to have the majority members live in town,
Right.
like 4 and 3 or 5 or 3 and 2.
Right.
But I don't want to limit it because,
Well-
65% of our participants live outside of town
Mhm.
limits. So
Mhm.
I don't want
Or right at the edge.
alienate those people either
Yeah.
because they're a big part of our program.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people that live in the ETJ that want to do things in this town and they can't do anything because it's not the
Well,
town limits.
we
but
don't want to alienate those.
Right,
because
so that's
we
what I
do
think.
have, we have from 3 counties that
Yeah.
participate. And I know one year, it's been 3 years ago, we actually did a informal survey, and we had like 9 different elementary schools participating in our fall sports down there. Kids that do it to 9 different elementary schools in the area. So
Yeah.
Wow.
you don't think that, because Andrew's kind of in the area to where we're kind of near Johnston County, near Wake County, and right in the northeast corner of Harnett County. And a lot of people don't have options to the east
Mhm.
or to the north, and they're kind of in between there. And we want them to think, okay, well, Andrew's giving us a better opportunity than somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Anybody else have any questions or discussion? Then,
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Derek.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to establish the Town of Angier Parks and Rec Advisory Board bylaws in Chapter 13 Code of Ordinances.
All right. Since there's no more discussion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. It's unanimous. Thanks again, Derek. We try to make it always easy. All right. Next, we have another ABC board vacancy that we're going to deal with tonight. The town clerk has reached out, and because we just very recently interviewed a whole bunch of people, asked those who are already interviewed if they'd like to be considered, and we've got a list of those folks here that we're not going to re-interview tonight, because we just did at the last meeting. If you'd like to present something, I'll let you. You snuck up on me.
I was just gonna say
Oh, okay.
exactly what you said. So.
Ken, I didn't see you. I was reading my paper. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I don't.
Okay. Well, thank you for walking up there.
No problem. I needed to get out of my.
Yeah. We did have 2 new applicants, so we did, according to our own policies, open up and advertise the position to be available, and we did get 2 new applicants, one of which I think was already their second choice. But they're on our new candidates to be interviewed. The first one of which is Mr. Mike Hill. Who I've never met before. How are you doing, Mr. Hill?
Doing good. My name is Mike Hill. My present address is 48 South Park Street. In the near future, I will, hopefully by the end of March, I will be moving back into Wake County at a residence I have there at 4109 Old Waverly Way. I've had a lot of requests for the purchase of these 2 homes I have, so I'm going to wind up letting them go. I think all of you know me. I've gave this speech several times. I'm a retiree from the North Carolina Highway Patrol with 30 years service. I am well versed in 2 chapters of laws, and that's Chapter 20 of motor vehicle laws and the Chapter 18B, which is the alcohol laws of North Carolina. I've served on the board here in town for 4 years as commissioner. I served on the Board of Adjustment. Of course, that's mandatory if you're sitting where you're sitting now.
Mm-hmm.
I served 4 years with the town of Angier as code enforcement officer. During that time, I fell in love with the town of Andrew. I came out here and I tore down 52 structures in this town. A lot of you don't even know where those structures are because once you don't see them, you forget about them. But I saw where the town was going to change, and that's where my love for the town of Andrew was created, and I continued to want to be part of it. I served as 22 years with a business. I had a general contractor's license. I built residential homes. Starting while I was with the Highway Patrol, my time off, I built my own homes, built other houses, for supplement the income, and a very successful business until 2008. And I decided to let it go.
It's a good year to stop doing that.
I also served as 1 year with the Sharon Harris nuclear plant. I had one of the highest security clearances in the nation. You have to have that to work next to a nuclear reactor with an AR-15, 9mm pistol, and you in control of the control section of that plant. So my character is not tarnished as it was during the election. But as I have told several of you, I still have a love for the town of Andrew. I want to be part of the town of Andrew. And that's the reason, even after I was given a chance in March of last year to be on the ABC board, that I served 5 months, and I decided to step down for personal reasons. And but now, since we have the new board in place, and a board that I'm proud of, I'm going to reapply for this position, and hopefully somewhere along the line, whether it's with the ABC board or other boards, I will get that chance to maintain my love for the town of Andrew by being on one of these boards.
All right.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. We appreciate everything that you've done for the town in every capacity so far. And I appreciate that we had a good relationship during the campaign, too. I'm glad to see you still stepping up and trying to serve your town in whatever capacity you can. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, sir.
Christine Ganji. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Ganji. Okay. So I remember seeing your name.
Yes.
But did you interview with us last time?
I did not.
Okay.
I had a prior engagement that night.
That's
when
all
I got
right.
the
So
notification.
you are here for us tonight.
Yes.
Originally, when you applied, I think ABC was one of your secondary choices,
Yes.
which is great. So we are glad to have you here tonight. If you don't mind, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Christine Ganji. I am originally from Massachusetts. I have lived in North Carolina. It'll be 6 years in August. I have lived in Andrew for 3 years next month. I was a 911 dispatcher when I lived up north. I worked there for 5 years, all the way from a small university all the way up to state 911. My husband and I moved down here. God brought us down here. We were both saved by our church while we were down here, which is how we figured out that's how we ended up here. We were in the Garner-Raleigh area first and decided that we wanted the small town feel, because up in Massachusetts, we lived close to Boston. It was always go, 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 which we weren't really big fans of. When we found our house in Andrew, we absolutely fell in love. We love the small town feel. We love being involved in all the different events. We've gone to the Crepe Myrtle Festival every year since we have been here. Just getting that small town feel in Andrew, being able to walk around downtown and go to the different shops and go to the different restaurants. We've seen a lot of the growth coming. We are actually in one of the newer communities with 4 communities going up around us. Which is good for my job because I am a real estate agent. So that does benefit me there. But I just want to be involved in the town of Andrew as much as possible because I love it here and I want to just continue to see it grow and grow in the right way.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for him?
So I didn't ask Mike because I already know. But Or you're not related to anybody here or anybody that sits on the ABC board?
I am not, no.
I have a
right.
question. ABC, why ABC board over any of the other boards?
So originally my first choice was the community outreach because like I said, I want to be involved in the community as much as possible. ABC board just happened to be my second choice because again, it's still something in Anger and I want to be a part of it as any way that I can be.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
All right, well, thank you for being willing to serve in whatever capacity you can. We appreciate your willingness.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so the other candidates that we are considering that has to be reconsidered are Bob Gravel, Rhonda Sprenger, Mac McLeod, and Tom Taylor. I don't know, some of them are here with us tonight, I could see. Thank you for being here. So we've got 6 to choose from, and we only have to do one tonight. So I'm looking for a nomination.
I make a motion for, to nominate Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor has been nominated. Any discussion amongst the board? If not, then all those in favor of Tom Taylor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Oh, it's a tie again. All right. I'm going to approve Tom Taylor for ABC board. Thank you, everyone else, for applying. We really appreciate it. These openings do pop up every so often. People resign or move on or whatever. Please reapply again. Thank you. All right. Next, we have the manager's report.
Before I get started, I thought I would let Samantha introduce herself to you.
Okay.
Our new finance director.
Hi, everyone. I'm the new finance director. I started last Tuesday from the new year on Monday, and I'm very happy to be with Andrew. I actually grew up in the area. Went to school in Benson, had friends, family in the Lillington, Andrew area, and I live Banks Road, which we heard a lot about tonight. So I'm pretty close and familiar and happy to be here to be able to help out with the finance department and lead our budget coming up very soon.
Yeah, we're going to put you right to work. So.
Yes.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thank you very much.
So in addition to Samantha, we also have a new part-time customer service representative, Miss Jackie Bunch, and she retired from Lowe's, and she brings a wealth of experience from her corporate days at Lowe's Hardware. I wanted to update the board on the lead line replacement grant that you approved for the town to apply for on 12/19. It has been submitted, and we should hear within the next month if we have been awarded that grant, and that is to move forward with the inventory of any lead lines that we have within our water system, and then to, once we have that inventory, to get those lines replaced. For the police station, we have been working on the property as far as we had a phase 1 environmental done, which recommended then a phase 2 study, and that was due to the fact that the railroad tracks used to be there, that there had been pesticides sprayed, et cetera. So that phase 2 environmental came back good, so we have no other mitigation steps to take, which is great news for us because that is less money that we'll have to spend on that site. Brightspeed Fiber, which used to be CenturyLink, they are going to be upgrading their fiber throughout town. It is primarily aerial on poles, on utility poles. However, 25% is in the ground, and so I'm trying to work with them to not create some of the problems that we have had during the installation of Ting. They don't have to ask for an encroachment agreement from the town because they have a state certificate of convenience, and they have a state franchise. So that is going to be starting soon. I have not gotten a timeline from Brightspeed, but once I do, I will share that with the board, and we will make sure that any property owners that might be affected have a representative that they can reach out to at Brightspeed.
You mentioned that we had some issues with Tang. Did those issues get resolved by any chance?
Jimmy, do you want to speak to that? Jimmy can better articulate what the problems have been than I can.
Okay.
So, yes, in a way, we got those worked out. So, part of their agreement is they have to stop the road bores at 3:00 since our staff leaves at 3:30. So at 3:30 in the afternoon they have to stop, and Friday by 12:00 they have to stop. Some of the issues that we've ran into is where they have hit water lines. I think they have hit about eight of them. I think I got it in your report there.
And that's public and private lines too.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if it's the town of Angeline, we go out there and we make the repairs.
Right.
And if they are at fault, so we do our investigations. If we've got our lines clearly marked, then we will go out there and we will bill them for that. So we have billed them for, I think, the 8 or 9 damages they have done. And so hopefully we'll be getting reimbursement for those here shortly. The good and bad thing about contractors being in town, sometimes they find lines you didn't know were there. So when they hit something we didn't know that was there, then we're still going to fix it, but we cannot
found it
charge
though.
them. But it is found.
And now
and
you
then
got it locked in the vault. That
even
line.
better, we put it on GIS. So
Okay.
since my fault is
That
getting
is
a little
better.
squeaky.
That's a great idea. I'm glad I came up with that.
Yes, sir. So, but yes, so anytime they do hit one, we've had conversations with them about between their locates and then how they're actually excavating.
Yeah.
That, so it is.
Because I've heard we've had some funny runs and some real shallow ones and
correct.
That old stuff, those guys. We could blame them. That was a long time ago.
That is correct. And if you'll notice, one thing when you look at my report, if you'll notice, in the past, we probably averaged 250 locates a month, and now we've got over 800 this last month. And so with between Ting and the gas companies coming in, the bypass coming in, so our locate numbers are just astronomical right now.
Yeah.
So that's tying up our staff members, basically full time. So we've got one gentleman full time just dedicated to that. And then when he gets a little bit behind, we try to get him some help as quick as we can to do that. So stay ahead on those. So
on behalf of the whole town, thank you for jumping on the problems we do have quickly and getting it handled. I've seen your guys out there in the dark sometimes working on these repairs so that we can continue to enjoy our water. So thank you very much for the hard work on the locates and the quick repairs.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, I have one question for you. And you don't have, you could, if your mic works there, it's fine. It's just a quick one.
Yes.
I just was hoping you could give us a quick update on how stuff at the annex is proceeding and when we expect that we'd be able to start moving some of our people in there.
I'm just going to read that email from earlier, Jimmy, if that's okay.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It just occurred to me.
So they had on the 8th, they had 2 skilled laborers. They met with Jimmy to start containment, take pictures of the discarded furniture. The furniture that was fabric, we are getting rid of.
Okay.
They placed 3 1,000 AFD, 2 500 AFD air scrubbers, and 4 dehus. Is that right? Dehumidifiers, maybe? I don't know if that's a typo. Okay, dehus, yes. So there was a superintendent and 6 laborers on site yesterday. They removed the double sink. They removed all the carpet in the building, discarded the marked contents. They cut out drywall in a couple of the areas that were stained. And today they began cleaning the 2nd floor. So we anticipate that their timeline is 2 weeks. And then Anger Paint and Wallpaper is coming in the end of January.
Great. So once ServPro is through cleaning, then Matrix will come in and do their air quality test on that. And then once that passes, then we can bring Anger Paint and Wallpaper in there to start doing the painting. So the areas that the manager mentions where they cut out some of the sheetrock, we'll just have Andrew paint and wallpaper go back and fix those areas. That won't in Serpro's scope of work. So we'll have Andrew paint and wallpaper take care of that.
Okay.
So I think, and then our goal is to have the planning department in there by sometime in March is our goal. So we're just trying to leave some space. If we get them in there quicker, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Still have some communications. We got to make sure that we're getting Terra fiber over there to the building, and then we'll have to lay out all those.
Yeah. Do you have enough furniture between what's there and what we already have to
I think so.
set that place up? That's
Mhm.
great.
Do you anticipate the drywall to increase the cost?
There'll be, I imagine, a little bit of cost for the drywall. I think altogether it may be, the spots they cut out may be like 3 4x8 sheets,
Okay.
roughly, because there's a spot on, if you walk through there, as you go up the stairs, there was a spot
Mhm.
right above, and as soon as you walked up the ceiling, there was one there, and a couple in those other small rooms in there. So we'll have a little bit of cost for that. So. One last thing, just to share with you, one on my report. Just got this information this week. So, so DEQ has approved our water our permit for our water tank and booster station. So that has been approved. We can see that online. We haven't received the official paperwork yet. So once we get that, then that'll be the next step. A couple big things we're still waiting on before we can actually bid it. Division of Water Infrastructures will have to approve that. We're waiting on NCDOT to give us our driveway permits. We need a driveway permit for Junior Road and a driveway permit for the booster station site, and then also an encroachment agreement where we have to come underneath Junior Road and tie into that existing water line. So we're waiting on those permits. We're hoping to have those by the end of the month.
How does all this fit with the big timeline?
Again, I think our goal was still December of 2025.
Okay.
So a lot of that is once we get it bid out, and then we're just at the timeline mercy of the contractor.
Okay.
The one we did at Kennebec, they actually got theirs done ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're right now we're still on our proposed schedule.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for answering my question. All right. We're moving right along here. Mayor and town board report. So this is the fun part where I get to say whatever I want because it's the mayor's report. So let me first say I hope everyone had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. Get that out of the way. My wife reminded me that this is our first real meeting since then, so I hope everyone enjoyed the holidays. We did have a workshop last week where we discussed between the board and town manager and clerk expectations of each other, back and forth every direction, which I think was very valuable to me. I learned a lot, especially considering this is new to me. So I learned a lot about expectations that the board has for me and minor day-to-day procedural things, and I think that meeting was great. I got a lot out of it. I hope we all did. So thank you for organizing that. I think that was well worth the day we spent there. Yesterday was Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and so I'm a day late, but here we are to say we appreciate you and your whole department for everything that you do for us. We did have technical difficulties with the cameras last time we were in here that we could not see coming. We, along with our staff, found some creative ways to still release what we did have from that on the website. And at our last meeting, we were able to record that and put it on the website. The workshop I was talking about wasn't live, but this board is interested in transparency. We're not required by anything to live stream or video record or do any other than take minutes, which we do. We started the video I think because of COVID. But I'm glad that we're doing it, and I'm glad that our staff worked hard to get this fixed so that we could be live streaming tonight, right? Okay. Well, thank you for your hard work there. Even though we don't need to do it, it's important to a lot of us to be able to let the public see how this works so they could be involved in even in an observational capacity. I want to point out that town hall is closed Monday, right, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So for anyone who doesn't know that already, this is the time I'm going to let you know that. On Tuesday of next week, we've got a workshop meeting. That is the 16th at 6:30, and right where we're sitting right now. So to let you know about that, the one thing that I am excited to discuss at that meeting is a short-term growth strategy. We're going to be working on the comprehensive use plan later this year, which is kind of the broad scope stuff, but it was important to every member of this board that we work together to discuss a strategy to deal with annexations and rezonings that we're going to be faced with between now and then. So we know what our collective goals are in that, and we'll get advice from Jeff and Elizabeth, and Dan will weigh in on ways that we can get what we want legally and properly. I spoke to Jeff this week in order to get him prepared for that meeting so he would have information for us, and he pointed out even some holes in our own ordinances that he recognized had some room for improvement. So I was really happy to see that. So next week, I'm looking forward to that part of the meeting, especially myself. Saturday, January 20th at 2 p.m., we've got another ribbon cutting at Share Suites, which is where the Dance Academy was. We've all seen it be remodeled. I think it looks great, and we'll be doing their ribbon cutting. I hope you can join us down there. You'll notice at the beginning of the meeting, I didn't talk about it much, but one of the, again, I keep finding these little nuggets of things I could do without asking other people, one of which is the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. You know, it's small, but I really, I'm going to start an initiative to involve the community in a way like that. We'll start with that. It's a baby step, but it's something, and it's important. You saw the children today. Those principals actually reached out to me after I was elected, and I told them this is something I had been planning. So they were eager to come here tonight and let those children be involved. And we'll have pastors and other religious leaders. And so anyone, any civic groups or religious groups can reach out to me, email me. I'll be organizing that myself so town staff doesn't have to deal with scheduling on that. So I'm happy to just take that little project over on my own. Tucker Coombs, most of us know him. He is a senior at Harnett Central High School. His birthday is tomorrow, turning 18. And he was recently accepted to Harvard, which is a big deal. So I wanted to say happy birthday, Tucker. He's probably not watching, but I'll tell him to watch the video. He might be watching. This is really important to him. And also, my mom's birthday's Friday, so happy birthday. I don't remember how old she's going to be, but at that point, yeah. That's all I've got. That's all I'm going to yap about. Do any of the commissioners, you know, this is the time for you two to say anything you like, if you've got anything to add. It's all right if you don't. I try to cover a lot of stuff. Okay. Thank you for that insight. I'll write that down. All right. I don't have any other business on here, so I guess that pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 A5 and A6, we're going to go into a closed session to discuss possible property acquisition and personnel. What are you doing back up here?
Before we go into closed session, I need to brag on my team a little bit.
But you had your turn, man.
No, I didn't hear when my...
I'm going to allow it. I'll allow it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Are we good?
Yes.
All right. Thank y'all. Real quick, I ain't gonna just take a few minutes of your time, but I know y'all got copies of the report, but sometimes you need to boast on your team a little bit when they go above
Please
and
do.
beyond.
There's a lot of paperwork up here.
Every month, y'all gonna be receiving a copy of our activities. I try to be as transparent as possible. Everything we do is right here. The one that I submitted this past time has December and all of 2023. So you can see our numbers. Police activities for December consisted of 5,510 calls for service. We've never had that number before.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Well, most of it is officer initiated.
Okay.
So officers investigated 69 offenses. During these investigations, 33 individuals were arrested on a total of 61 charges. I'm going to show you my scribble real quick so you can figure out how I come up with all my death investigations, different ways I break everything down.
Uh-huh.
I'm so excited we've cleaned up a lot of Andrew. The department has cleaned up a lot of Andrew. We've had areas years ago that people wouldn't walk down. That's when this number right here, the drug numbers, that took the majority of my report. Felony and I have to keep these separate for different reports. Misdemeanor and felonies, just offenses, not anything to do with drugs, has now increased due to the number of the population in town.
Mm-hmm.
But our drug offenses has been reduced to about 1/10 of what it was a year ago.
That's great.
I'm so proud of that. They are doing an awesome job. All right, 33 individuals were arrested on 61 charges. 9 arrests were made on outstanding warrants. 4,767 subdivision security checks. So that means everybody that's sleeping at night in their home, we're doing 4,767 subdivision checks. So they're looking after you. Hush. That's all right. This number right here has never been established in the town of Andrew. 217 traffic citations were issued, totaling 317 charges just last month alone. They're out there doing it, and they're on the road. 92 verbal/warning citations. We had another successful Christmas on the square and Christmas parade, no issues, thank God. The Andrew Police Department has never operated with a rotating shifts. When I first came here, I worked 7 to 8 years at night. When you work at night, you feel like you're forgotten. So that was one of our biggest problems with recruiting new officers. They didn't want to come to Andrew because if you come to Andrew, you got to work nights forever. So now we're rotating. We started this past Monday rotating. So if you go out here now and see the officers, you probably haven't seen them before. So it's the ones that were working days or on nights.
You let them out in the sun, huh?
Yeah. So several of them look kind of sleepy. But we're excited about that. We submitted end-of-year reports, in-service compliance reports for the state. Andrew Police Department is in full compliance with the state. Actually, the state requires 24 hours of mandated training. Our officers are getting anywhere from 40 to 300 hours a year. Something else I'm proud of. We're in the process of having all our officers certified to deliver Narcan to overdose victims by the end of January. I was trained, so now I can train my department. Each of my team is going to be getting 2 units to carry around with them all the time, starting next week. So one thing that kept us from being able to do that was financing. After begging and pleading with the state, we finally got some resources to come in, so we're getting them for free. So
Great.
Something else we're proud of. Several members, this is the last thing I want to beg you with, several members of the Andrew Police Department is partnering with Harnett County Emergency Management to create Harnett County's first search and rescue team. This team should be fully active by the summer of 2024. We got 9 of our officers out of 19. We got 9 that's volunteered to play a part in this. We're going to be bringing a lot to y'all in 2024. I don't know if y'all, I don't have Facebook, so I had to borrow Facebook to look at it. But we've already had our first community informational video.
I saw it. I saw it.
So
It was
we're gonna
good.
be doing them monthly. So teaching the community about scams, different things that's coming up. But we are partnering with Black River Fire Department, EMS, and trying to just build one big team.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of stuff together. So we got a lot more coming this year. But I wanted to at least come up and brag on
Do you have
myself
any
a little bit.
better looking officers you can use for those videos next time?
No, it was either him or me, and he knows better than I.
All right. Okay.
So,
I'm just kidding. He's a handsome man. Let me give you some applause for you and your whole department. Thank you.
Our officer looked good on that video.
I was joking. He's quite a handsome officer.
He's
if
talking
I
about the
don't
fire
say so
department.
myself, and you could tell him I said so. All right. So that's my mistake because I was supposed to let you give that report after the town manager. But I'm figuring this out. Does any other staff have reports to give before I read all those numbers again? Are you sure? Is Derek still here? There he is. You good? Okay. All right. Then, again, pursuant. Do I have to read this whole thing again?
Practice makes perfect.
We're going to enter a closed session to discuss property acquisition and personnel. We need a motion for that.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We will go back into open session briefly just to close the whole session, but I don't know when that'll be. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to take a recess, and then we'll be back in closed session.